Today I want to start a series on BES 12 Cloud. What is it, who's it for, and how do you do it? So BES 12 is BlackBerry Enterprise Services version 12. Cloud means it's delivered from the cloud as opposed to having a server in your own premises. And what is it for? Well, it's management, it's mobile device management. So mobile device management means that you can manage mobile devices from a central console. Well, I've got my mobile device right here in my hand. Why do I need to manage it from some computer console? Well, if you had a dozen or 100 or maybe thousands of mobile devices, being able to manage them all from one place is a very nice capability that enterprises cherish. What kind of management does it do, you might ask? Well, if you have a BlackBerry 10 phone, one thing you can do is split the phone into a personal side and a work side. The work side can have separate apps, can have separate accounts, can have features turned off that maybe are not appropriate for use in your enterprise environment. And if the phone gets lost or stolen, the company information can be removed from it, and other things can be done with it. So we'll talk about the actual capabilities of this product when we get into that section of it. But what we're going to do right now is talk about how do you actually get it and put it on your phone. We start by creating an account in the something called store.blackberry.com. So store is the enterprise store. That's different from Shop BlackBerry, which is where you can buy phones and accessories. And it's also different from your BBID, which you use to, of course, identify your device and use BlackBerry World and other features. So you need to set up an account in store.blackberry.com, and I will show you how to do that now. Before we start building the store account, there are a couple of caveats that I want to make clear. First of all, once you select the email address, and for that matter the street address, for the BES Enterprise Store account, that really can't be changed in the website. Maybe BlackBerry will change it for you. You can ask them, I don't know, but not in the website. You can add additional email addresses and physical addresses, but the original one you use is the one you're stuck with basically forever. So bear that in mind. Use an account that you can live with. Second thing is, when you're in BES itself and you want to push an email address out to a phone, on BlackBerry phones specifically, POP3 and IMAP are not supported. They are supported on other phones, but not on BlackBerry phones. So the only kind of email address that you can push from the BES 12 console, at least the cloud console, is ActiveSync or IBM Notes Traveler. So if you did like I did the first time I set one of these up and use an IMAP account for the store account, for the tenant account, and then push that or use that account to activate the phone, all of that will work, but you cannot then have that account on the phone. You can't add it manually, and you can't push it from the console for BlackBerry phones. For other phones, that's okay, but for BlackBerry, you can't do it. So it's pretty important, in my opinion, that you get yourself an ActiveSync account or an IBM Notes Traveler account and use that because it is possible to use that for every aspect of the process. I actually got set up an Outlook account, Outlook.com, which does support ActiveSync. It's not clear that it does, but it is supported, and that is a good account to use. So I use an Outlook.com account for the store, for the tenant, for the activation, and then I push that account to the phone from the BES console, and everything works all the way through. So that's a good option if you want an ActiveSync account that does not cost anything. It's one of the few options, or it's actually the only option I know of to get one like that. So that might be worth doing. Otherwise, you're good to go, and so are we. So we'll get started setting up the store account right now. Here we are on the Surface Pro. We're going to open https store.blackberry.com, and that will open the Enterprise Store. We're going to register ourselves, assuming you don't already have an account. Fill out the form as appropriate. I won't take you through that whole process because you know how to fill out forms. Just go ahead and do it. So there we are. We've created the account. We should have gotten an email over here in Outlook on the BBTeach account, which is what we used. That email is going to allow us to activate the account in store, which we just did by clicking that. Give it a password, and it will activate the account so we can do further things with the store, such as buy products. The product we're going to buy, although it's not actually going to cost us anything right now, is a trial version of BES 12 Cloud. Trial version, of course, means that we don't have to pay for it. It will last for some number of days, in this case 30 days. So we're in here, we're going to click Secure Cloud-Based Mobility Management, which we just did. It should give us an option to get the trial version, which we're going to add to the cart. Okay, then we'll check out. Notice it didn't ask us for any credit card information or billing information. That's good because some systems do that. So proceed to check out, and that will take care of it. Once that happens, BlackBerry will send us another email confirming it, and then we'll get a subsequent email after they've got everything set up. Usually doesn't take too long, which will show us how to create an account that will actually allow us to use the cloud, the BES 12 Cloud. So right now we're looking at the email we just got, which is a confirmation, and we're waiting for BlackBerry to send us the next email, which they should do quite soon. Can take up to 24 hours, but they have been working very hard to get that sped up, and usually, for me at least, it takes a very short amount of time. So we'll keep an eye out for that. Sign out, and we're done setting up the store account. We are back on the Surface Pro. You see we got an email from Enterprise Store indicating the order is complete, and also telling us about the service subscription that we have. So what we're going to do is open the order complete email and read carefully through the instructions. The one we're most interested in is Activate BES 12 Cloud. Click here. Now, I've already done that step. There's really not that much to it. It's just a matter of setting up what is essentially a tenant account. And once it's set up and verified, you can log in and actually use it. So since I am already logged in, we'll go on over and have a look at it right now. So here we are on the dashboard. The dashboard shows us the various things that we can do. And the one we're most interested in is down here under Account Support, and it's called BES 12 Cloud. So if we select that and wait for it to open. So here it is saying, would you like to access the cloud tenant? And the answer would be yes. I do suggest that you right-click this little tab right here and add it to your favorites. It'll save you several steps. You don't need to go through that dashboard all the time to get here. Now, when you do sign in, you will have to do two things. If you're not already signed in under the tenant account, which we are in this case, you would have to sign in as that. That would be the account you set up from the email right here. In this case, I set it up as bbteach@outlook.com and gave it the same password that I have for the store account. And so I just use the same account for both. You don't have to. I find it convenient to do that. After you activate the tenant account, you get sent two more emails from BlackBerry. One is to tell you to log in to the BES 12 console, Cloud Console, using the admin account. As far as I can tell, that's the only account you can use. And the second email is giving you a temporary password to use for that admin login. Then it will prompt you to change the password as basically the very first thing. Once you go through those steps, you're in the BES 12 Cloud Console, where you can start to actually do things with the various mobile devices you have out there. We've got all the accounts set up. We're now ready to go ahead and log in and start using the BES 12 Cloud Console. So I'm signing in right now for the tenant account, and of course I'm using BBTeach at Outlook. Put the password in, and what that is doing is essentially unlocking the ability to use the console for BES 12. So now we're going to go into the console itself. We're going to use the admin account. And we put the password in. And we'll sign into there. And so here it is. Now, the tab we're on is Users and Devices. And the user is BBTeach, which you can see right here. So I go ahead and open that. It's now showing the default policies that it has assigned to them. The IT policy, the activation, the compliance. And over on the left side, we see a tab down towards the bottom that says Set Activation Password. So that's what we're going to do. We'll touch that now. Okay. There we go. And now it's asking me, okay, how long do I want this password to last? I'm going to change it from 2 days, which is the default, to 2 hours, because that'll be enough for what we're doing. And go ahead and save it. Now, when I do save it, it's going to send 2 emails to Outlook, to bbteach@outlook.com. Those 2 emails will be instructions for how to configure, how to register the phone, activate the phone in BES. And the second one will be the temporary password that it has generated, I guess you'd say. So go ahead and save that. So now those emails have been sent, and if I were to open the account, I'd see them in there. What I do now is go to the phone and start to create an email account using bbteach@outlook.com and that temporary password that they sent me, and that will activate the phone in BES. So we'll go do that now. Okay, I'm going to walk you through actually enrolling this E30 into BES 12 Cloud. So we start by going into Settings. So we can make that happen. There we go. And we're going to add an account. And we're going to add an email account. And the account, of course, in this case is BBTeach. At Outlook.com. Okay. And the BES 12 console sent us an email with the temporary password, so I'll put that in now. This password is going to last about 2 hours. Okay, that looks like it. So it's now contacting the BES 12 cloud server and making sure that everything is as it should be, copacetic, so to speak. And it will go through a long process of popping up boxes. We'll wait for another one. There we go. So I think I'll pause the video here. We don't need to watch it. It's just a bunch of dialog boxes like this that it goes through takes maybe about 2 or 3 minutes, and we'll be back at the next stage. Okay, so here we are back. So it finished the enrolling process, and now it wants us to set a password for the workspace, and that is actually by policy. Policy requires that. So there we go. We're going to just give it a simple password. 1, 2, 3. Oops. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll confirm it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we can synchronize that with the device. In other words, we can make that the device password as well. So we'll check that box. So let's go ahead. Because I already had a password on this phone, it wants me to verify that one, which was actually just the same thing anyway. So let's let it go through the activation process now. I don't think that takes very long. And then once it finishes that, I can actually show you the work side and the personal side. So it's confirming now with the BES 12 cloud server that it has been activated, so that the console on the BES 12 console will see that. It'll see information about this phone and be able to manage it. So after this finishes, we'll go into the console and actually set up an email address and send it. Maybe we'll send some applications too, so you can see that process. And you'll see that the phone will pick up those settings from the BES 12 cloud server. So I don't know, I thought this was pretty quick, but maybe we'll pause the video so you don't have to sit through this. Okay, here we are back. Activation has completed. Now there is no account. It didn't actually create an email account. It just used that to activate the phone. So if we go in and look at the accounts, see it's just asking us to create one. There isn't really an account, so to speak. But if we now go and swipe down from the top, we will see now down here this option to switch to work. So before we do that, here's the regular phone. This is the personal side of the phone. See, it looks like a pretty normal phone setup. There's nothing in the hub. Hub is pretty much empty. It's a new phone. It's just been built, really. So now let's switch to the work side. So now we're on the work side. They gave us a different wallpaper by default, just so you can see that you changed. If we go over here, we can look at what's on here, and you can see there's very little. There's just not much on there. Again, hub, empty. It's really the same hub. Now, interesting, if you go into BlackBerry World Work, there's nothing in there. In order for there to be apps in there, I have to send them from the BES 12. And we will do that in the next stage of this. But you see, work is just pretty simple. Nothing much there. If we switch back now to the personal side. So here we are back on the personal side. You can see we have everything. If we go into BlackBerry World, we have all the regular stuff that the user would have. So this looks like exactly like your regular phone. There's really nothing. The only difference is that you have this option down here where you can switch to work. And if we remove this phone, we deregister it from BES 12, this actually goes away, and the phone goes back to what it was before we started all this process. So there you go. That's what it looks like. We'll go to the next steps in part 2 of this series.